If you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. Join us as we explore the latest trends from the Department of Justice, share some best practices, demystify complex compliance issues to help keep your organization doing business ethically and in compliance, and at the end of the day, more profitably. Tune in daily for your dose of compliance wisdom. Let's make compliance a little less daunting, one tip at a time. Now a word from the sponsor of the Compliance Podcast Network, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
On today's Compliance Tip of the Day, I want to look at the Department of Justice's Corporate Whistleblower Awards pilot program and the remarks of Principal Deputy Attorney General Nicole Argentieri recently about this. Some of the early successes and corporate lessons of this program are incredibly important for the compliance professional. Argentieri said the CWA is off to a strong start with over 100 tips received in literally the first month. If these whistleblowers are also reporting internally as incentivized by the CWA, companies must take their reports seriously and consider coming forward. The DOJ's approach to recognizing and rewarding cooperation and remediation in enforcement actions has certainly been instructive recently, with the prime example of the Boston Consulting Group receiving a declination for its actions. Earlier this year, if you want to contrast it with the SAP, FCPA enforcement action received only a 40% reduction in its overall criminal penalty. The launch of the CWA certainly portends a new era in corporate accountability. By leveraging financial incentives and protecting those who come forward, the DOJ is creating a powerful tool for combating white-collar crime. For companies, the message is clear. Invest in strong compliance programs, encourage internal reporting, and act decisively on misconduct. Doing so not only aligns with the ethical business practices, but positions the company to achieve the most favorable outcomes in any DOJ investigation. As the CWA continues to gain traction, compliance professionals will play an even more critical role in doing so for their organizations going forward. You can only assume that the DOJ will move forward more aggressively, moving this program out of a pilot phase and into a permanent phase. And now we have literally coverage across all agencies, at least in the FCPA and compliance realm, with the SEC based upon the Dodd-Frank whistleblower program and the CWA by the DOJ. As I said in the opening of this podcast, this month's sponsor of the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico, and they've developed a toolkit for middle managers that will help middle managers in intaking information from employees and, equally importantly, understanding how to respond and how to get the information up to compliance for the decision makers. We've linked to this toolkit in our show notes, so check it out at ethico.com. This is Tom Fox again. This new podcast, Compliance Tip of the Day, will appear daily, and frankly, it's one of the most requested topics for a podcast that I get on a regular basis. It's going to be short and sweet with one tip with some takeaways that you can utilize to implement into your compliance program. If you've got a question that you would like a tip on, please submit them through our website, and we will use them in an upcoming episode. The Compliance Tip of the Day is a production of the award-winning Compliance Podcast Network. Finally, this podcast contains promotional materials.